this is Troy with Kiamichi Mountains Adventures. This is our fall 2016 weekend, our first expedition for the fall. We're down here on Little River, and we will see what happens this weekend. We have a group coming from different parts of Texas and Oklahoma, and we'll see what happens.
What's up, Facebook? This is the Squatch Ranger, and I'm on a Bigfoot hunt for the weekend in Honobiaoklachito, Oklahoma. And so tonight I'm going to be out for a few hours, and then tomorrow night we're going to go out for a few hours, try to find some evidence and make some calls, see if we can get somebody or something to respond. Anyway, stay tuned for some updates, and I'll be talking to you soon. Oh, by the way, here's a view. If I can get there we go. Here is a view of the creek, the river that runs right through here, through the property that we're on in Honubby. And it is pronounced Honubby. It's kind of spelled like Honubia, but the local pronunciation is Honubby. And that's where we're at. Sun's going down. We're going to wait till it gets dark. Then we're going to do some observing, make some sounds, some calls, see if we can get someone to... I keep saying someone, something to call back. Okay, so we just kind of saw some eye shine, so you guys want to make some... Yeah.
So, this is my first time here. Troy invited me, and I've been up here a lot. I've had a lot of stuff happen. I've had rocks thrown at me, I've heard stomps, I've heard howls, but first time ever looking through the brush here, I saw some eye shine. There was apparently a couple of them on this hill. It's crazy.
And were they moving?
It wasn't moving. It felt like it was kind of swaying back and forth a little bit because I kind of had to keep moving with it to kind of keep up with the eye shine. But first time I've seen it, it's pretty cool.
And this is your first time to be with the expeditions,
Yeah, this
correct?
is my first time to be with the expedition. I've done stuff personally, but never on the expedition.
I caught the glimpse of something coming towards us, a figure coming towards us.
Damn,
and well, it's almost exactly, and now I know what we heard over here. That we heard that. Doo, doo, doo.
Yep.
No, this sounded like doo, 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 doo. It was like this, and then it went like this, and then it went like that, went right past us. You could hear it. And you know that I know of it, what it made him doing? I wonder if it was bounding over all this this stuff.
This stuff.
He was boom, boom, but it was 100% bipedal when it came right at us.
Yeah.
And where we were at, it would have made a right, and then right next to us, right past us. Then I guess you heard all the hollering.
Yeah, we are.
That was me trying to pull my pants up. And I was not expecting that. Literally not expecting that. I figured, that's why I told him, I said, keep an eye on y'all. We were going to watch, we turned all of our stuff off to watch y'all to see if we could see somebody or, something parallel on y'all. And that's why I said, I got to take a leak. And I had gotten just done, was getting ready to, the next thing you know, then he goes, what's that? By that time, it was already too late. It was aiming right at us. And I was like, well, hold on, I'm in the middle of,
It may have been
I was in the middle of taking care of some business.
Hey guys, this is the Squatch Ranger. I'm here in Honobi, Oklahoma, day 2 of our Bigfoot hunt down here in southeast Oklahoma. I'm on the Kiamichi Mountains Adventure. It's a Bigfoot hunt in southeast Oklahoma. You go out for a couple of days, you have a guide, his name's Troy Hudson. He takes you out and you look for Bigfoot. You look for clues, signs, evidence, sounds in the woods. You know, you're just out in the field kind of doing Bigfoot research a little bit, just trying to see if you can experience Bigfoot. And last night was our first night here, and I gotta say I'm pretty impressed. So we were setting up camp down in this little valley, and just as we're setting our chairs out and setting up our little base camp, one of the guys in our group, he sees a red light. Nobody else saw it, but he saw it, and he was, you know, he was honest. He saw a red light. We couldn't explain it. Don't know what it was. Not saying it was Bigfoot, but you just don't see red lights in the forest. So that was interesting. Then a little bit later, 4 of us, Troy led us down the path just a few feet, and he noticed a light. It wasn't red. It was kind of a whitish, bluish color. And it was just kind of shining, and we could see it kind of swaying back and forth. A couple of people commented, "It's going back and forth. It's moving. It's moving." So that was possible eye shine of a Bigfoot. I'm not real sure what I think of eye shine and Bigfoot yet, but we definitely saw a light. There was a light in the forest moving. So whatever that was, might have been Bigfoot. Might have been some other phenomenon, I'm not sure, but it was interesting because there was nobody else there. It was just us 4 looking out through the trees, and we saw a light. Then a little bit later, me and Troy are trying to find another part of our group. We split up into teams, and we were trying to locate a team. We were trying to go down this path, and anyway, we're going down the path, and then Troy says, "Hey, let's take a shortcut." So we're taking a shortcut. We are not on a cutout path at all. We're taking a shortcut through the woods. Troy has to make a stop. Nature called. So we stop. We turn out all our flashlights. It's pitch black. And he's doing his duty. Well, I'm behind him, obviously. And it's pitch black. And all of a sudden I hear brush and branches crunching and leaves. And something's moving. And immediately I thought, okay, a deer is running towards us. It got scared, it got spooked, and it's running right towards us. And I thought it was just going to run right through us, basically, because it was close, and it was just coming our way. And so that was really odd. So immediately I jumped behind Troy because I was going to let him be my shield. And then all of a sudden, whatever it was turned and went past us to our right, and just went through the woods, and we kind of heard it thumping through the woods, you know, stepping on leaves, running. And Troy says it was a biped. He says it was no deer. His point was that if it was a deer, we've been down there for over 2 hours, making sounds, talking, shining flashlights. We're going to scare all the deer out of the area because of our presence. So he's convinced it was not a deer down there. He's convinced it was something else. His theory is it was a juvenile messing with us, playing a trick on us. And, you know, maybe it was. I'm not sure. What I do know is there was an animal, and it was running towards us, and then it went right past us. And we never heard any growls. We never heard anything vocally from the animal to identify it. All we heard was footsteps in the leaves, crunching the leaves, running towards us. It's pretty scary. And Troy was scared because he was still relieving himself. He was still pulling his pants up when it was happening. So that was pretty funny. We all got a chuckle out of it. We saw some other unexplained lights kind of on the ground. Some weird stuff was happening last night. I'm not saying it was Bigfoot. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying there was some weird stuff that we can't quite explain. So anyway, we're having a good time. If you are interested in the Kiamichi Mountains Adventure, go to Oklachito. Sorry, let me back up. Go to honobiaoklachito at gmail.com and email Troy Hudson for more information on the Kiamichi Mountains Adventure.
I'm an old walker. I'm from Texas. I'm up here in Honobia on an expedition with Troy. Yesterday afternoon, early evening last night, we went down to an area here, and as we were getting set up and getting settled in, saw what looked like about a red eye shine. It was bright red. It was intense. It was in the trees, and then it was gone. It was very quickly. A little later, we were standing there, and it was getting much darker, and we saw, 3 or 4 of us saw some eye shine up on the side of a ridge. We watched it for several minutes, and then Troy, as we were watching it, Troy gave a call, and when he did, the intensity of the eye shine brightened. So it was really interesting to see it react to the call.
What color was that eye shine?
That eyesight was white. A little later, we were walking along a trail. We were watching the ridge for some more eye shine, and as we were standing there, we heard 3 big steps come right at us. Couldn't tell exactly how far away it was. Some of us thought it was within 5 feet. Some thought it was 20 yards. So it was really hard to tell with it being down in such a wooded area. But we did feel it. We did hear it.
And you felt it was a biped?
It was definitely a biped. It was not a small animal. In fact, a little while later, we heard some other steps, and it was very clear that they were not biped. They were smaller in ground, and you could tell, versus the other ones, definitely biped. Then, let's see. Later on, we split up, and Troy and Ryan went walking through the woods, and Travis and I were in another part, and suddenly we heard 2 little girls cry out, and they had also heard footsteps running towards them, directly at them, and it startled them quite a bit. So we had a lot of activity. One other sighting we had, we were sitting and waiting for some people to join us, and we saw some odd lights. One of them was very close to Ryan and I as we were sitting there, and it was not in the direction where people were supposed to be. In fact, we saw them later from a different direction, so it was very much a very odd light. It was very bright. Didn't look exactly like eye shine, but it was definitely something that was not normal or expected in that situation.
And this was all from the first night, and so we're getting ready for our second night tonight. What are you looking forward to for the second night?
Hoping to see more eye shine, maybe see a little bit more evidence. Hopefully the moon will be out early enough that we potentially see silhouettes, or just any other activity might be there.
And it's Tanya. We came to our first night was last night, and we got in late. We heard a few things that we sounded like something was moving around us, and probably one time saw, I guess what they say, eye flashes that moved
We saw
left to
a
right.
pair of eyes go past us, parallel in front of us.
We were only there a couple hours and just had to go home. So.
Well, we had an incident last night. Ryan and I were together, and we were trying to coordinate where everybody was in the group, and part of our group was back down here. So the trail is behind where Ryan's standing right here, so we decided that we were going to do a shortcut. Ryan and I walked through these woods. We're gonna make our way around here, back over here, and we actually had an incident. So when we get over here, we'll show you what happened.
What's up, guys? I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I'm driving on a four-wheeler through the wilderness looking for Bigfoot. Having a blast. So, wish you could be here. Check you later.
Alright, this is a spot where Ryan and I were standing. What happened is we got to the moment where we realized we looked over at you met up with Jim's crew, and we knew that y'all were right there because we see y'all walking with the light. So like I told Ryan, I said there's a shortcut right back to where base camp is. I took a moment to all the excitement. I took a moment. I had all that sweet tea in me, so I took a moment to take care of this. Ryan was standing behind me. I was finished. I was about ready to take care of my trousers, and instantly something straight ahead started charging this direction. You could hear the footfalls as it was coming. Ryan walked up behind me and said, "Is that a deer?" The footfalls were extremely heavy. There was also a lot of other commotion going on in the woods. As you can tell, there's only one lane of path right here. And that's where I saw this area right here get dark. So I knew that it actually had started, whatever the footfalls were was coming directly in our direction. So in the midst of the panic, and my hands are otherwise occupied, trying to fiddle with the radio because it's got a light on the front. I'm doing a number of things, and I'm sure there was some verbal expressions that we were using. It stopped somewhere in this direction, somewhere over here, and it made its left-hand turn would be our right-hand turn, and moved around us, and we heard it as it moved off to our right, which that direction is north. It moved off, and then it stopped. You actually heard it take its last step and stop. Traditionally, everybody knows that a deer, you normally do not come towards you.
Right.
It was much heavier than a deer. I like to get Ryan's impression with that. To me, it sounded bipedal. It sounded very heavy, and it sounded very fast. There was no other sound. There was no branch breaking. There was no huffing, puffing. It was literally a ghost-like sound that footfalls are coming towards you in the woods, and there was a little bit of a visual reference that I could see that this area right here between these sets of trees was starting to get darker and darker. So I knew something actually upright above the ground, taller than a deer, was moving towards us very fast and rapid. Because it took up a lot of that space and made it dark. And it immediately made to us, a right-hand turn, and shot and went off to our right hand, probably 10 yards away, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. I fear maybe on the other side of this vine and all this the thorn bushes and everything over on that side right there. But at night, of course,
Right.
the situation is your depth perception, your distance perception, and take on the moment that you're actually engaged in another activity and you're trying to finish that activity up, and your hands are full and you have something coming through the woods at you at Mach 2.
But based on where you're at, best of your ability, how tall do you think it was?
From where I was standing, somewhere right in this area, 'cause I remember that rock, when I shined my light down,
Right.
that rock was there. I was cracked a little bit because I was trying to make my tire appropriate. So as I was moving up, as I was looking and realizing it is coming right at us, those two trees back there, and there's two large branches that shoot off to the north.
Correct.
From this angle looking up, that mass was about the height of that second branch. But again, I'm down here because I'm trying to get everything adjusted, and I'm realizing that is, you walking over there would make there would be no reference other than you were this big and it was that big. So the deer factor was, it just didn't, there was no characteristics other than the tromping through the woods, but it was heavy. It was coming towards us, vice going away from us.
Right.
We've been down in here for a couple hours with our four-wheelers. We've been running around, so most of your typical critters, would already have moved out.
Right.
I would safe to assume.
That's very detailed. Yeah. It's almost like it's got light amplification.
Like right here, you can see through the trees, got a little bit of a window. You can see kind of back up in there. That's where they're standing, looking through that at you. So when you know,
I see what you're saying. It is like when
yeah, and that's what they're doing. They're kind of they're like this, and that's how they can tell where you're at. And then all of a sudden, when they know you're looking that direction, they just kind of lean back. And those little windows. It's like a cow walking down that trail. Dog's right here next to us. The dog's standing over there. She's looking right at something. You can tell by the way her face is. She's staring right at something. It's like it's going further away.
Yeah.
Or its head was pointing. It was pointing a different direction when it did it.
We're getting hoarse. We're doing it for long.
But it sounds like mine's echoing more than that one's echoing.
So he's like down lower, huh? Or... Oh my God. That was the kid, right?
That was a cow.
Alright, so we're in the middle of night number 2 of our Kiamichi Mountains adventure. And we've got Noel and Tanya and Chuck here, and they're going to make a couple of statements about what we've experienced tonight.
Towards the beginning of the night, over in that direction, we had just started our fire. We were breaking up wood, and then we heard wood being broke up over there, a little bit bigger stuff than what we were breaking, and limbs being broken and thrown around. You can hear them.
So that started off the night. And then Noel, what happened later?
Just before that, while we were walking down the path, I looked off to the side, was watching through some trees in an open kind of an area, and I saw something run past very quickly. And then later on, after we came back and were sitting around here, we heard some rocks being thrown on the water well house. And then we've seen a lot of eye shining. So we seen a lot of that tonight.
Now describe that other sound. We heard two of them. I heard two of them. Kind of a
rumbling sound?
Yes. Can you describe that?
Kind of a rumbling sound, and not sure exactly what it was, but it was not mechanical. It sounded, to me, it sounded like something moving through the woods very quickly, but a ways off. It wasn't real close to us. It seemed to be a little bit away. At least that's what I heard.
Yes.
And then we heard, it sounded like a laugh or a cackle, really, in that direction.
After a call, Troy did a call, and then that kind of was our response.
And Troy has made a number of calls that we believe we did hear response back to.
All right, thanks, guys.
Did we ever talk about those guys over there that we all saw? A bunch of us saw?
No?
There is, on that trail, Troy went over and he started singing, and he turned, and there was a handful of them over there, and you could see their figures, and there was enough light coming from the stars that you could see it shining off one of his back, and as he moved, it was moving because he was moving. And then when Chuck came down there, we saw one move around behind him. You could see a lot of activity. There was a lot going on over there.
Well, very good. Thank you, guys.